although the ground's a little bit, he's 8-1 from 7-1. Although the ground probably will be riding a little bit firm for him, I think this very brave horse is going to give Lester Piggott a really great run. Just getting into their right order for the parade. Let's have a look at SADLER'S Wells. There he is. SADLER'S Wells proved himself a top-class horse in both the Irish 2000 Guineas when he beat Proceda and Secreto by a neck and half a length. Then in the Eclipse Stakes where he held Time Charter. He's won 5 of his 7 starts, and one of his defeats was when beaten 2 lengths by his stable companion El Gran Signor. That was in the Gladness Stakes at the Curragh. That was prior to winning the Irish 2000 Guineas. He's a tough individual who proved his courage when racing over a mile and a half for the only time in his career. That was in the French Derby when going down by a length and a half behind DARSHAAN. But as I say, Pat Heddery was the first one to go that day, and he went with about 2 furlongs to run. Well, Enchantee is perhaps the toughest mile and a half course in Europe, and I think that Pat will most likely choose to bide his time a little bit longer today on SADLER'S Wells and try and produce him probably behind DARSHAAN when they turn into the straight. Pat, who rode that terrific race in the Eclipse on SADLER'S Wells, and what a race he did ride, because he opened a little bit of a window, a little bit of a door I should say, and then just when 2 jockeys went for it, he shut it again a little bit quickly, but didn't do anything wrong. There was nothing illegal about that movement, but this is what makes a great jockey. Beginning to go out onto the course, or will be shortly. They're getting into their right number, and when we pick them up from the front end of the parade, it will be Esprit du Nord. There is another heroine, 14, Sun Princess, last year's Oaks winner, who went on to win the Yorkshire Oaks and then won another classic, the St Ledger at Doncaster, when she got the better of Esprit du Nord by 3 parts of a length. She also ran a good 3rd in this race last year, and then a good 2nd behind All Along in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, which just shows you this filly's class. Her one run this year was in the Coronation Cup at Epsom, where once again she found Time Charter too good and was beaten 4 lengths. But her trainer, Major Dick Hearn, said then that filly he didn't think he had quite right, and he thinks that she's going to give Time Charter much more to do today. Well, sadly, Willie Carson had a crashing fall and is unable to ride Sun Princess, so Steve Cawthon is associated with this great filly for the first time in public today, although he did ride her a little bit of work after racing at Newbury last Saturday, reported that she's one of the nicest fillies he's ever sat on. Let's just go in front. This is LUTH Enchantee, one of the French train runners, trained in fact in France by Jack Cunnington. LUTH Enchantee, one of the best fillies around in Europe at the moment, and especially last year, had enough speed to win 2 of Europe's top mile races, the Prix Jacques Le Marois at Deauville and then the Prix Moulin at Longchamp. Also showed enough stamina to finish 3rd behind All Along and Sun Princess in the mile and a half Arc de Triomphe. Well, any animal that possesses that speed to win, as I say, 2 of Europe's top mile races and then go on to run the race of her life in the Arc de Triomphe, and in fact she was finishing fastest of all when filling 3rd place, and you wouldn't put her out of it today. In fact, she is somewhat of a media of a gamble here with Coral. She's been backed, in fact, to win £25,000 today. Coming out onto the course 2 parade, down in front of the stands, roughly down a furlong and a half, when they will turn and canter back to the winning post, which will be, or the starting gate, I should say, in the top right-hand side of your screen. The first horse we see is Esprit du Nord, who is 40-1 at the moment in the betted. He's by Liefard, out of Rajput, Princess by Prince Taj. Drop back onto His Honour, the mount of Brian Proctor, 100-1 chance. Then we have Jupiter Ireland just following behind. Looked very well in the paddock, very much on his toes. He's a 50-1 shot at the moment in the market, a real tough handicapper. And I would think I'll make some of them go today. I wouldn't think quite good. Clive Britton just walking, his trainer that is, on the outside, having a last-minute word with Philip Robinson. Magwal, another one of the French invaders, the mount of Greville Starkey. He's 50-1 at the moment and very much on his toes, as you see. Miramar Reef, another one trained by Clive Britton, 150-1 at the moment, so both Clive Britton's outsiders. Richard Fox in the saddle by Mill Reef, out of an Appiani, the 2nd mare. Lester Piggott on Tonoso. He's bid in to be the first Derby winner at 4 years old to win this race. Tonoso 8-1. The only other Derby winner to win this race at 4, in fact, was Royal Palace in 61. Let's go back to Tolomeo, winner of the Budweiser Million, 16-1. I wouldn't put him without a chance in the race, although unfortunately on his last run a little bit below par in the Joe Corral Eclipse at Sandwell. Back to Fly Me, one of the 4 fillies in the race, 20-1 at the moment, who ran Tonoso to that great neck at St. Cloud and ridden by Freddie Head. LUTH, Enchantee, the mount of Maurice Philipperon, very well supported at 12-1, behaving immaculately, and a really good type of filly by Be My Guest. Sun Princess, one of the main English hopes at 7-1. Steve Porthan in the saddle, as I was saying, the first time in public. Time Charter, mount of Joe Mercer, and a warm favourite at 13-8, behaving herself really well, bidding to win this race for the 2nd time in her career. Number 16, DAHAR, one of the French trained 3-year-olds, 50-1 at the moment, and in fact out of Dahlia, who won this race twice. The French favourite, 4-1, DARSHAAN, trained by Shirley Heights, out of an Abdos mare, and looking, I thought, absolutely super in the paddock, and ridden for the first time in public by Walter Swinburne. Last but not least, SADLER'S Wells, ridden by Pat Edery, trained by Vincent O'Brien, and running in the famous colours of Robert Sangster. He's 13-2 in the market at the moment. All 14 runners behaving themselves immaculately in this quite warm sunshine. The crowd now have left the paddock, walked down to the rails to see them walk down a furlong and a half to 2 furlongs. You can see by the pictures now the vast number of people that have turned out here at Ascot to see this really first-class card of racing. Whatever horse wins today, especially if it is either DARSHAAN, SADLER'S Wells, one of the colts, or Tolomeo, would stamp perhaps him at being worth somewhere around £20 million. And Time Charter, if she should win this race again, how would you value her? She's rather like the crown jewels, I would say, priceless. There she is. Time Charter, in fact, 6-4 favourite, from 13-8 and 4-1 bar her. She's about to turn. Time Charter will be turning. In fact, LUTH, Enchantee just turns in front of her. In front of her will be Sun Princess, but I think Joe's just going to shortcut Sun Princess. He is on Time Charter. Let's just watch her to the gate. Getting a little bit warm now, but no wonder. Quite a lot of work when you think this filly is being prepared gradually for this race by Henry Candy for at least 8 months. A lot of work by his staff, his stable staff that is. The lad that does this filly have been looking after this filly, gradually honing her to a fine edge, but not to overdo it so that she wouldn't take the parade. Just shortens her stride on this fast ground. And in fact, Time Charter is another one in the field that would like to see the ground with a lot more give-in than what she's going to have today. But in the Coronation, when she was a runaway winner, she was also firm ground, and her courage and her ability and her class got her home, and she really won well that day by 4 lengths. She's by Sarah Tamer out of Centricon, who was by Highline. They're over at the 1.5 mile start now, where you'll see they'll be going into the stalls in a short while, and after the stalls open, I think we're going to see a pretty warm pace on for the first 1/4 mile. All the way down into Swindley Bottom, Joe Mercer, Walter Swinburne, Pat Edery, Alan LaCour will all be fighting in that first 1.5 to 2 furlongs to find a really good position so that they can switch their animals off for the first 5. There is young Walter Swinburne. A lot rests on this young jockey's shoulders. He's won this race already on the mighty Shergar, and what a race he rode that day. He bided his time on Shergar, brought him all the way round the inside, never left the inside once, and he had enough ability, courage, and also talent to wait for an opening to come. If he'd have shifted that day on Shergar, I think he would have been beaten, but patience paid off. The door opened, he had a run on the inside, and Shergar strode to the winning post. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we don't see young Walter adopt the same tactics today on Darshan. The Shirley Heights colt, a really good individual, and I think a worthy champion of France. Greville Starkey walks through the picture, as did... There's the colours of Tolomeo. Let's have a big look at the market.
Time Charter the favourite, 6-4 again. Darshan 4-1. Sadler's Wells 6-1. Sun Princess and Tinozo 8-1. LUTH Enchantee is 12-1. Tolomeo has gone right out to 20-1 with Fly Me. Esprit du Nord and Jupiter Island 50-1. So is Dahar. MAGWAL 66-1. And on 200-1, Miramar Reef and His Honor.
There's Tenoso with Leicester just having a look at his girth by Youth out of a Ballymoss mare. As I was saying, what courage he showed at St. Cloud when winning the Grand Prix de St. Cloud, and what courage Leicester showed on that occasion too. Was in the parade, Tenoso threw his head back and opened up two really nasty gashes just over the eyebrow and just underneath, and the blood was pouring away from Leicester's face, and Leicester didn't flinch at all. He gave this really good-looking colt a great ride on that occasion. Well, I know one man that agrees with me, and that is perhaps, in my opinion, the greatest race caller in the world. Let's join him now, Peter O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Jimmy. He hasn't got the greatest voice, I'm afraid, at the moment, even if the first part of your comment is surely very wide of the mark too, but thank you very much for it. Leicester, incidentally, riding in his 28th King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Diamond Stakes, just taking the weight off Chinozo's back. He didn't kick off too well in this race. He was second in the initial running in 1951 on Zucchero. Took quite a long time to win it, but when he did, he won 6. He's been second 7 times, third 4 times, and fourth twice. And he said yesterday that he'd much prefer more cut in the ground for this horse, but he still thought it was good enough for him to give a very good account of himself. And Chinozo, as Jimmy said, bidding to become the first 4-year-old and only the second 4-year-old to win this race, having won the Derby, Royal Palace having succeeded in 1968. And he's only the third of his age group to have gone on to compete in it. After winning the Derby, the other two, Blakeney and St. Paddy, were both runners-up. Very relaxed, both horse and partner, as they wait under the trees for the starter to call them behind the stalls. Darshaan, Miramar Reef, the latest betting. Time Charter, 6-4 favorite. 6-4 favorite to emulate Dahlia. Darshaan, 9-2. SADLER'S Wells, 13-2. Sun Princess, 8-1. And Tinozo, 8-1. And Esprit du Nord has been withdrawn, not under orders. So 13 runners. Esprit du Nord, the intended partner of Gary Moore, of course, withdrawn from the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Diamond Stakes at the 11th hour, and of course did not come under starters orders. So France, with now 5-horse representation. The score, incidentally, so far: England 19, France 8, Ireland 5, and Italy 1. Italy not represented this afternoon, but Ireland, of course, is, by SADLER'S Wells. This is Fly Me, number 11, and Freddie Head. Freddie Head, having his 8th ride in the race. He's been placed 3 times without success. And now they're being sorted out, preparatory to coming into the stalls. Fly Me. And there is Esprit du Nord, and doubtless a very disappointed Gary Moore. No indication as to why he's had to be withdrawn, just the announcement over the public address that Esprit du Nord would not take part. Gary Moore looking forward to another big race triumph, having recently won the Prix Robert Papin Maison Lafitte on 7 Springs. And his handler, apparently disbelieving this announcement, hasn't led him away from the others yet at all. This is Tolomeo, the winner of the Budweiser Million, ridden by Ray Guest, an unfashionable rider, but a very accomplished one, and one who knows this horse very well indeed. Hooded for stalls entry on this stifling hot afternoon. Tolomeo in. There's Sadler's Wells going in very quietly over on the far side, and Pat Edery. Pat Edery, who of course won this on Grundy. LUTH Enchantee goes in. 6-4 still Time Charter. 9-2 DARSHAAN. 13-2 Sadler's Wells, eased a little bit. Tinoso 8, Sun Princess 9. 12-1 Bar. This is Tinoso we're looking at now. Time Charter on the far side. And Joe Mercer, first rode in the race in 1954 and looking for his third success this afternoon. Lester still to put his feet in the arms as Tinoso's hooded. Time Charter goes in very sweetly indeed. Dahar goes in, then Tinoso. Now there's MAGWAL. MAGWAL, Sun Princess, and DARSHAAN to go, and also Jupiter Island. Just 3 to go. This is Sun Princess, the Oaks winner, and Steve Cawthon riding her in public for the first time and riding his third King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Diamond Stakes. And here's young Walter Swinburne with a 100% record, only one previous ride, won it on Shergar. And DARSHAAN and Jupiter Island, the 2 to go now. Jupiter Island goes in. DARSHAAN will be the last to be installed for the 1984 King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Diamond Stakes. They're under starters' orders. And they're away. Tolomeo makes quite fast on the near side. And DARSHAAN's also right up at them, and Tinoso's taking it up now and being tracked by Sadler's Wells. Lester Biggott goes straight to the front as they race down towards Swinley Bottom. Tinoso has gone to the front, tracked by Sadler's Wells. His Honor, the pacemaker, now for Sun Princess, has gone up to be second and relegated Sadler's Wells to third. Then comes Sun Princess on his outside, then DARSHAAN, and then Tolomeo. Behind Tolomeo is Time Charter. Just in behind Time Charter is Miramar Reef, and then comes MAGWAL, and behind MAGWAL is Dahar and Flute Enchantee. And it's still Lester Biggott on the inside of His Honor, but His Honor has gone on now. His Honor has taken it up from Tinoso in second. Sun Princess is third. Then comes Sadler's Wells 4, 5 is DARSHAAN, 6 and 7 are Time Charter and Tolomeo. Then comes Fly Me and Miramar Reef. And the back marker is Dahar, and it's still His Honor in the lead from Tinoso second, Sun Princess a close third. Quite a gap then to DARSHAAN and Sadler's Wells, the first and second in the French Derby. Just behind them are Time Charter and Tolomeo. Then comes MAGWAL and Fly Me. Behind Fly Me, Miramar Reef, and then Jupiter Island and LUTH Enchantee, and finally Dahar. They're past the 5 furlong pole, and it's still His Honor from Tinoso. Lester Biggott towards the outside. Sun Princess is going very cosily in third. Then comes Sadler's Wells. Then comes DARSHAAN, and then Time Charter and Tolomeo as they're past the half-mile pole. Tinoso in the lead now from Sun Princess in second. Sadler's Wells is third. DARSHAAN is fourth. Time Charter's making ground now in fifth, just upsides Tolomeo. They're into the home stretch, and it's Lester Biggott in the lead now on Tinoso, being pressed still by Sun Princess. Then comes Sadler's Wells, then DARSHAAN. Behind DARSHAAN, being pulled to the outside, is Time Charter. And it's Tinoso over on the far side, being pressed now by Sadler's Wells. Then comes Tolomeo, then on the stand side, Time Charter. It's Tinoso from Sadler's Wells. Tolomeo in the center of the course. Time Charter unleashing a run towards the stand side. It's Tinoso, they're in the lead. Tinoso the leader from Sadler's Wells, and Tolomeo and Time Charter. Lester Biggott is going to win it again. Tinoso wins the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Diamond Stakes. Second is Sadler's Wells, and third is Tolomeo. And fourth and fifth were Time Charter and Sun Princess. Then Dahar and Jupiter Island and LUTH Enchantee and DARSHAAN. And behind them, Fly Me. Behind Fly Me was MAGWAL, and then Miramar Reef. And last was His Honor. And so the result of the 1984 King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Diamond Stakes. First, number 9, Tinoso, owned by Mr. Eric Moller, trained by Jeff Bragg, and written by Lester Biggott. Second was number 18, Sadler's Wells, owned by Mr. Robert Sangster, trained by Vincent O'Brien, and written by Pat Edery. And third was number 10, Tolomeo, owned by Mr. Carlo D'Alessio, trained by Luca Cumani, and written by Ray Guest. It was officially a photo for fourth place between Time Charter and Sun Princess. with Time Charter probably just getting the minor berth. But no doubt the winner, his 68th of the season, his 7th in the great Ascot Showpiece, Tinoso, ridden by Lester Piggott, this son of youth out of Furioso, becomes the 18th four-year-old to win this great race, of which this is the 34th running. Tinoso, having always been in the first two, taken on by Sun Princess at the half-mile pole or just before it, wrested the lead from the mare again, approaching the home turn, battled up the rail to complete a fine training performance for Jeff Ragg and win in tremendous style in the end to frank his form in the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud. He's the 13-2 winner of this great Ascot event sponsored by De Beers Consolidated Mines Limited. Lester Piggott once again will receive the handsome trophy associated with this great event. In this case, a silver and diamond watch with brilliant cut diamonds and a rose cut diamond winder designed by Nick Milligan and Tom Scott of London. So Tinoso becomes only the second four-year-old in history to complete the Epsom double, as a three-year-old a winner of the Derby, of course, and as a four-year-old the winner of the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Diamond Stakes, and how brilliantly he has vindicated the courage of his owner Eric Moller and his trainer Jeff Ragg in keeping him in training. When so many horses are retired to start at the end of their three-year-old career, this four-year-old getting a tremendous reception from the crowd, who greatly appreciate a horse being kept to the game for which he was originally bred, rather than hustled off the stud prematurely. And let it be said that he was most gallantly chased home by a three-year-old in Sadler's Wells, with Tolomeo a very worthy third. So the Piggott Roll of Honor, 1965, Meadow Court, 66, Aunt Edith, 69, Park Top, 1970, Nijinsky, 1974, Dahlia, 77, The Minstrel, and 1984. Tinoso. And here's how he won it, reviewed by Julian Wilson.
Well, this was the most amazing horse race, because I thought Lester had taken leave of his senses, the pace that he went off, because it took the pacemaker almost half a mile to get in front. He's taken it up again about 4 or 5 furlongs from home. He's led into the straight, and you can see from the way he's galloping that he's not really enjoying the ground. Sadler's Wells moves up to challenge in second place. Sun Princess has always been in the first three and in third. DARSHAAN struggling on the outside and weakens here. TOLOMEO comes with a great run on the outside, and DAHAR makes good ground on the rails. Time Charter's never really got in a blow. But this is where the terrific courage of Tinoso comes into play. As you can see, he's carrying his head slightly, feeling this fast ground. Certainly a better horse with a bit of give in the ground. Time Charter momentarily challenges for fourth place as DARSHAAN drops away. But now it's Sadler's Wells who is the only serious challenger, although Tolomeo's run as good a race as he's ever run in third place, sir. But Piggott and Tinoso are a formidable, terrifically courageous and very good combination. And this horse, who when he won the Derby, some people may have underrated him, has proved himself today to be one of the fine Derby winners and an outstanding four-year-old. Tinoso the winner, Sadler's Wells second, and Tinoso third, I should say Tolomeo third. And the starting prices as follows.
Yes, first number 9, Tinoso, 13-2. Second number 18, Sadler's Wells, 7-1. And third number 10, Tolomeo, 20-1. First, Tinoso, 13-2. Second, Sadler's Wells, 7-1. And third, Tolomeo,